All right, everybody, thanks for joining us today. We've got a nice webinar going on for our webinar series. I'm Major Hilliard, the founder and international best-selling author and founder of MH Estates Capital Partners. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick, and we'll get this puppy going. All right, so today we'll be going through a subject matter that's near and dear to my heart, and we're very proud of, and what we do with MH Estates Capital Partners is changing communities through investment. So we're going to go through a slide today about how we purchase communities and rehabilitate them to steadily cash flowing assets that we can then resell. But we're very proud of our work because not only is it about generating a profit, but also about changing thousands of people's lives and giving them livelihoods they never thought they'd have before. So we'll kind of just jump into that. So why we invest in mobile home park communities, and why do we invest in communities themselves? We realized that early on in my investment career that profits is first, right? But how do you generate that profit? You can only do it if you have good paying tenants and retention of tenants. And the best way to do that is to give them a livelihood that they cannot find anywhere else or be outmatched for the same price point. And so I realized early on, by purchasing these mismanaged or value add communities that need a lot of help or renovations or updates, that if we can come in and give a great quality of life that these tenants have never had before, we never have any issues or have very little issues of increasing rents or getting those properties up and stabilized. So we're actually going in, we're being more profitable, we're giving livelihoods and a communities aspect that these tenants have never had before, and it creates a huge demand. And because of that, it kind of goes downhill to where if we have a livelihood that they enjoy living, that they don't want to leave, that people are begging to get in or waiting on waiting lists to come in, our demand is extremely high in an already high demand asset class. Wherefore we can get the rent stabilized, make the properties more profitable, less turnover, less management, and it all just comes together to have a better outcome, not only for the tenants themselves, but specifically for our investors, because you have better returns, quicker returns that we can then stabilize the community and refi out. And so we've noticed it's a downhill thing where we take kind of an opposite approach from others. So it's more than beyond an ROI, that our investors and ourselves know that not only are you getting a great return, but you're also having an intrinsic value of helping out hundreds and thousands of communities or people in these communities every day. So they have a better quality of life. We're very proud of what we do. You can feel good about your investment. And then we also, by doing that, we sustain value creation, which expands our portfolio, better profit margins, and better overall market value for each one of our assets. So a few ways we transform communities is, number one is management. Every community that we acquire usually has a lack of management or deferred management. And that's how you can get some bad apples in, and they'll mushroom out into a large clique within each community that you have to weed out. And so by having great management, on-site management and staff, allows our other tenants who are abiding by the rules and want to be good community involvement leaders, the ability that they could actually have a say in the community and see that something's actually being done and not being taken advantage of. Another thing is the infrastructure upgrades. So we'll go through, we repave roads, we'll install playgrounds, which is great because that's another big win for us, and a big sought after amenity that we offer that most other communities don't offer. We'll install security cameras. In fact, one of the largest parks we've had to date was 185 units. We were able to deport 23 MS-13 gang members, help with drug trafficking, numerous things, all through simply updating the roads so that police could then patrol, updating lights so that criminals don't have a dark alley place to live and work in, and have an enforcement of rules and an actual presence on site to let people know that we're here, we care, and we're going to be either follow the rules or you're gone. And that's bad for business for criminals. And so that's one of our main approaches up front is roads, lights, camera, and action to kind of turn these communities around. We also go through, we'll clean out the communities up front with dumpster trash service, have all the communities cleaned out, proper, and each lot maintained and updated because it's all about presence and curb appeal. Because the cleaner the broken window theory, we want to have everything clean on the outside because it brings a higher standard of living expectation for all of our tenants. And then obviously resident success. So because we're vertically integrated, meaning that we have our acquisition fund, then we also have an affiliate dealership, management company, and finance company, we're able to control all the verticals, which allows us to revitalize, revamp, and stabilize these value add communities that we purchase, usually off market in a relatively short time. And by doing that, we're allowing, because we can finance, the financing of these homes is very unique. It's not very readily often. So our tenants are able to purchase their homes at a discounted rate and they're able to pay them off quickly. And we've actually had numerous families that would buy one home and then after they pay it off within a few years, they would then buy another home and move family members into the home that's been paid off. And they share the bills together to bring down their overall living expenses. And we've also had other residents that would pay off a home and then purchase another one and use it as a rental. Now, obviously, they have to follow guidelines and work with us, but we're very happy for our tenants to acquire new sources of income and passive income. We've seen lives change dramatically, and it helps out the community too because it's helping us. If there's a vacancy, fill a vacancy, then we don't have to deal with it because the maintenance falls on the tenant that purchased the home. So it's a twofold strategy. It allows them to increase their revenue streams and their income, which also helps them pay the rent and also gets rid of vacant spaces and vacant homes that we had that we need to get off our books either way. So some of the visual changes, improvements we do, again, you can see the nice background, nice playground in the background, but enforcing rules and community cleanup. Another thing that we do in our communities that's kind of unique is that we will offer, and just about every time we will offer and maintain all the landscaping. So we will cut all the grass, all the trimmings. The entryway is very beautiful with nice flowers and evergreen vegetation for ease of management or maintenance during the cold weather season. But by us cutting the grass, which is a little bit more expense, we'll go into that in a second. By us cutting the grass for them, it allows us to maintain the grounds how we see fit without having any trash or debris laying around. It also helps the tenant realize not have to incur the expense of a lawnmower or weed eater, which, as you guys know, nothing's more frustrating than trying to turn on a mower or pull a mower and start it after a long snow season or winter season. So just taking that out, it helps with the tenants. And then when they come home, the last thing you want to do on the weekend is cut your grass, especially when you've been working all week. So we've realized that our tenants really like that kind of service. It sets us apart because not many parks or communities offer it. And it's something that we can roll into and explain and have the tenants favor a rentable increase or increase of payment because that service is included among other things. So again, these are services they're not going to find anywhere else. It improves their way of life, and they don't have to overcome, and you don't have to worry about the maintenance and the cleanliness of the each community that you acquire either way. Again, with the security, cameras helps a lot. We've had issues in the past where we'd have dumpsters and people outside of the community will come and dump tires and couches or what have you. Causes a real issue. It causes extra fees. So we have a national account with a large national waste provider that will provide us cans wherever we go. And if they can't, they will provide us dumpsters at a discount. But what we do to mitigate the outside dumping is fees, is cameras and lights. And so, in fact, in some counties, we actually have license plate readers. So every car that comes into that community, we are automatically tracing license plates. And so we can see if there's any active warrants, if they live in the community, and if there's habitual issues of them coming in and out, we can immediately identify them and have them fined or you know, given violations if needed. Through that, also it helps clean up the neighborhood as well in the community, which increases the property value. And then, as I stated earlier, playgrounds. So we do offer playgrounds in our communities because we're very family focused. A lot of our tenants are either first time home buyers or young families starting out, or that working class blue collar class that has younger children that's looking for a best value. And so, really, our largest competitor is apartment complexes, right? So we are the least expensive option for and most affordable option for housing at any community that we go in. And we want to offer the same, if not better, amenities than they would get an apartment complex, but at 60% of the price. And so that formula for us has really driven up our uh, favorability among our tenants and also provides us with wait lists of ready prospects that have been already background checked and credit checked, ready to move in. And that's how we have that high demand for each community that we own and operate. So again, measuring beyond OI, because again, it's all about profit, but because we have intrinsic value that we give, we have much better resident satisfaction. And why that's important. That's important because you have a less turnover rate. And so an apartment complex is the average US national average turnover rate for apartments is 47%, which is almost half of your units are being turned over annually. We have less than a 10% turnover in each of our communities. So if you think about it, there's less downtime for non-payment of rent per unit. It's less maintenance of trying to outsource and get new qualified tenants, which we already have laid out, but you're still losing 2 months worth of revenue just from going through the eviction process or abandonment process if they leave in the middle of the night. So it allows us to have better revenue streams and a lot less maintenance. And because of less maintenance, we don't need a large staff. Usually in our communities, we only have 1 to maybe 2 employees versus when you go to a larger apartment complex, they'll have 3 to 4 full-time staff and allows us to outsource a lot of our maintenance needs. But because really we're maintaining the land and the infrastructure underneath of it, it's not a lot of maintenance. So anything that's under the land, we maintain. So the roadways, utility lines, electrical lines, all those are what we maintain. Anything above that, the tenant owns the home, it's their responsibility. So it really cuts down our maintenance. And because our maintenance is so low, our expenses and operational costs are very low. And so it increases our property values. So by coming in and implementing what we've spoken about earlier, a cleaner, nicer neighborhood with great quality of life, high demand with tenants lined up on a wait list, I mean, it's going to increase the value. We can also increase our rents to market rates or above for our communities, and it greatly increases our property values. We've talked about retention rate and then community safety. Again, you can have the nicest community if the location is not very good or it's just not safe to be in. You're just not going to have that retention of your tenants long term. So here's kind of a real life example. This is a community that I purchased in Columbia, South Carolina, called Silver Hill. We purchased it. It was 46% occupied. So there was 125 pads in this community. We purchased it and there was only, I think, 46 homes total in that community. You can see all the vacant spaces here. And so we purchased this off market wholesale. And within 36 months, we had moved in 97 homes. And here's the finalized picture. This is actually part of our listing agreement. We brought in 96 homes to be 90% occupied. Obviously, there's a few that went in and out. But because of that, the market value is extremely high. In fact, we're in a contract on this for this as a sale, and we're looking to do extremely well on our returns on this. I'll say that. But because of increasing the homes on the per pad basis. You didn't have any squatting, a lot less traffic, a lot less crime because there's nowhere to hide. We paved all the roadways here. We installed street lighting. In fact, we had that camera I spoke about earlier. One of them was right here in the front of the office, where it actually reads each and every license plate that comes into the community. And so we were able to turn this around in 36 months, get it to 90% occupied, and we more than quadrupled the market value of this property within 36 months. And this same property, we refied out our initial investment, which we can go into later, but refied our initial investment within 14 months on this property. So we're very proud of this. You can kind of just see the curb appeal. Even on an aerial, you can see there's massive curb appeal difference between the two transformations. So let's talk about like the pyramid, the tip of the spear. Obviously, it's all about investor returns. Investors' returns come first, even before we get paid. But it all comes from a really good base where we are very transparent. MH Estates Capital Partners is very transparent. We care about the livelihood of our tenants, and because of that, it works to the ultimate goal, which is great returns for our partners. Again, as we spoke about earlier, without that livelihood and that quality of life, which we are very proud of, that we offer and give to our tenants, changing hundreds and thousands of lives, you wouldn't be able to be as profitable because you'd have higher retention and you wouldn't be able to get the rates you're able to get on a monthly rental base. There are some communities where the market rent rate is low than what it should be. And so we've actually become price leaders in some of these markets sometimes because the quality that we have and the affordability that we give to our tenants vastly is superior than everything else, including apartments in the region. And so we've actually changed entire counties' market rents to have them come up to our current rates as well. So as we're concluding today, and how you can get involved, again, my name is Major Hilliard, founder of MH Estates Capital Partners. We have many ways to get involved. This is a first time. Thank you guys for coming on inaugural webinar, but this is our first webinar we're doing. We'll be doing 2 every week, 1 every Tuesday and every Thursday. And you'll be going over different subject matters. In fact, Thursday later this week, we'll have a Q&A. So anyone attending or anyone who would like to get involved can ask me questions live, just like we're doing now. We also have a AI. So you can go onto my website, which I'll put in the chat here, which is actually an AI clone of myself. And you can ask any questions you want anytime you want. It's taking all the work I've done and everything that I know and putting it into an AI form so you can ask any questions you like at that time. We also have our website that you can go on and access our deal room and get access to our newsletters. And yeah, simple email, follow up with me. I'm welcome to do a call. I have a Calendly link, which I can send out to everyone as well, where you can click and sign up for a call or a webinar anytime you would like on available time slots. And that's really it, guys. And I appreciate you guys being here today on the first inaugural webinar series. And we'll see you on Thursday. So we'll stop.